What is up, AFC North football fans, and welcome into another edition of the AFC North Roundtable, powered by BetUS. Week 8 is in the books. We turn the page to Week 9, already past the midway point of the season. It's hard to believe. Things are starting to get interesting, particularly in the AFC North, where the Steelers currently hold sole possession of first place. They're on a bye. We'll see how the other three teams fare within the division here in Week 9. So without further ado, let's dive into it and bring in the fellas. Zay, Zim, Sam, and Mark. Boys, we got 3 games within the division this week, and we'll look to see who can try to make strides towards making this North even more confusing. We already had a swap at the top this past week. We'll see if the Browns can continue to make things interesting, if the Bengals can get back on track. A lot of exciting stuff to uncover here in Week 9. So let's dive into it. All 3 of the games within the division this weekend, fellas, are in the 1 p.m. window on Sunday. Let's start with the Baltimore Ravens. Now, this one is interesting to me, fellas. Right now on BetUS, the Ravens are a 9-point home favorite, yet they have the same exact record as the Denver Broncos. Both these teams come into this game at 5-3. The Ravens are coming off of that loss to Cleveland. They're trying to avenge it. Denver, though, a 9-point dog despite having the same record. By the way, if you think that Denver covers, if you think the Ravens roll, you can get in on the action on BetUS using the promo code YouTube150. That'll get you a 150% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 on your first deposit and 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits after that. Interesting line. I understand Baltimore's the better team here, boys, but I don't know about 9 points. Let's see what you fellas have to say about it. I'm going to start with you, Zay. Ravens coming off that loss to your Browns, looking to get back on track. Big favorites here at home against Denver. How's it go down against the Broncos?
That line is just foreshadowing as hell. Like, it's like, why is this so? You see it like that, it's like, oh, the Ravens about to come out here and go Scotty if that's the case. Like, this is either going to be really, really close, too close for comfort, or we're going to see the Ravens play like what we thought they were going to do against the Browns. I think, Denver, I think their coaching is good enough to maybe, beat the Ravens. Bo Nix has had a good game last week, but, similar to the Steelers, like I know Sam had Mark in his feathers over there. Who have they really played? So this will be a good test for Denver. But I'm going to go, I don't know if I want to go points, but I think I'm going to lean points. Give me Baltimore and the points, man. That just seems a little bit too fishy to me, man. Blowout.
Yeah, a little wild. Broncos coming off of that W over Carolina. They rolled them, like you said, Zay. Bo Nix looked great. This is an interesting line. Zim, your thoughts on it? Do you think that Baltimore has what it takes to roll Denver here, or do they make it interesting?
I think it's going to be interesting. Sam, Lamar wasn't at practice. Is that just a rest day, or is there something there?
They said it's a rest day, but I heard from sources that he's been dealing with a little bit of a groin issue. So I think it was a little bit of both. So just watch out for it.
Whew. Okay. All right. I'm still going Ravens. I think the firepower every single week is a real thing. But the Denver Broncos play a very disciplined brand of football. No missed snaps, no turnovers, any of that stuff like that from the Ravens. I think the Broncos can make them pay. What's the line on this?
9. Ravens are a 9-point home
9?
favorite. Yeah, crazy. Big one.
Yeah, nah, no way. Yeah, I mean, I think this game is like a 3-point Ravens victory, but I do have the Ravens winning though.
Denver's got that tight D. That's where I feel like this could be interesting. And I feel like Bo Nix looked real good last week against Carolina. I know it's the Panthers, but these Ravens have been letting just about anybody score on them. I just wonder if Bo Nix, should he have a decent day, will be able to keep this one close. Mark, I'll go to you now. These Ravens looking to get a W here to try to keep pace with your Steelers. How do you see it going down against Denver?
This one I'm kind of torn because this year I kind of want to see Denver fail because they got rid of, Russell Wilson, and he's on my side now. I want to see him prove them wrong, but at the same time, I want to see the Ravens fail too. I think 9.5 is probably way too much for the Ravens to have a convincing victory, unless they fire on all cylinders and they take control and Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson has a another big 5 TD game. Like they can do that at home, so they can turn it right on, dead set. Big test though for Bo Nix going into Baltimore in his rookie campaign, and a big test for the Broncos too, if they haven't played anyone either, like my Steelers. But you can only play who's in front of you, right? So I don't think it's going to be a 9-point swing there. I'd probably take the points if I was going to bet anything. I'd probably take Broncos with the points with a chance to win. Like I said in the other show as well, Justin Tucker isn't automatic anymore from 50, so that's got to weigh into some things too. He might be struggling at the end of his career. Of course, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. The NFL loves him. But in this game, if Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry can feed him the ball, then they could win this game, 28 to maybe 24 or something like that. Maybe a 4 or 5 point victory, something really weird and crazy. But this is one where the Ravens has lost against the Browns. It's a bounce back opportunity. I'm taking the Ravens. As much as I don't want to, I want to see the AFC West win. I'm taking the Ravens to win this game.
Sam, this is back-to-back weeks where your Ravens are heavy favorites. Didn't go well last week. There's no way it doesn't go well again this week, right?
I'm picking the Broncos to win. I'm picking the Broncos to win.
Come on,
that's a really easy decision for me, honestly. I think the Broncos defense shows me a lot of what the Browns possess, but just multiplied times 2. I think the Broncos defense is stout. I think the Ravens defense still have question marks. I think we have to ask ourselves what type of player are we getting from our safeties. Marcus Williams was a healthy scratch. He was benched last week.
Wow, what is that about?
I think it's a doghouse issue. I think Marcus Williams and the coaching staff are having a little bit of the button heads, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's because of his level of play over the first 7 weeks.
Send him my way.
Yeah.
We don't.
He might be on the trade block.
Send him my way.
He might be on the trade block. Eddie Jackson's looking kind of porous. They brought in Darius Washington to play safety, but he could only do so much. I think this is a great opportunity for the Broncos to come in and prove that they're one of the better teams in the league. Do I think they're one of the better teams in the league? No, but anybody can throw on this Ravens team. And I think the Broncos defense has enough to really slow down this offense. And if you slow down the offense enough, it's going to be one of those type of games where you're really asking a lot of Lamar Jackson. And we talked about how he's had to put the team on his back the last couple of weeks. He's not really 100% heading into this game. I just don't see the Ravens coming out of here with the W. I think that the Broncos steal a win in Baltimore, and then that Thursday night game against the Bengals becomes huge. But yeah, I'm very comfortable seeing that the Broncos probably win this game.
Z-Bot, I just had to ask one question. We didn't talk about this on the previous show. I wanted to ask Sam or thoughts on the Deontay Johnson trade. We didn't talk about that at all.
I like the Deontay Johnson trade because it forces the Ravens to become more multidimensional. The Ravens are playing a lot of 2 tight end, 3 tight end sets. And I think in the later parts of that Browns game, the Ravens would have loved to be a more 3 receiver set team, but they just don't have the weaponry and Nelson Aguilar or Tylan Wallace to be that 3rd receiver that the Ravens can trust. So I think they really had to bring in Deontay Johnson. I don't think he's going to take snaps away from Rashad Bateman. I don't think he's going to take snaps away, obviously, from Zay Flowers, but it definitely gives this team a more speedier, spread out offense in those situations where they need to get 10, 15 yards for a first down. Man, I don't trust this Broncos team. I don't trust this Ravens team at all in this spot. I think the Broncos win. Damn,
Sam, a loss here to put them at 5-4, that would be wild. That would shake things up in the AFC in a major way. That would also be crazy to have these Denver Broncos at 6-3. Look out. No one would have saw that coming. This would be crazy should your prediction come true. And on BetUS, by the way, if you're interested in terms of what that would win you, if Sam's right and the Broncos get the W, $100 bet on Denver wins you $355. So they're big dogs in this one. That would be the upset of the weekend, I believe. Yes, the Ravens are tied with the Chiefs for the biggest favorite of the entire weekend on Sunday. So let's transition from the Ravens game to the team that they will play the following week on Thursday Night Football in the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals looking to rebound after their loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Raiders looking to rebound from their loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. Another big favorite are the Bengals in this game. They are a 7.5-point home favorite against the Las Vegas Raiders. If the Bengals want to have a chance at making a run towards the playoffs in the latter half of the season here, this game has to be a must win. And as you can see by the spread, it's one that they should win. The question is, will they win it? Zay, your thoughts on the game?
I don't know, man. I feel like I'm a cheerleader every week for these AFC North teams. It's almost like I'm expecting more. I just don't understand why the Bengals can't figure it out. Every week, I feel like it's their perfect opportunity for them to, do exactly what I thought that they would do and peel off some wins. Zim's mentioned it a few times how this team is very capable of peeling off 8, 9, 10 in a row. And I fully believe that just for the simple fact that they have Joe Burrow. But the Raiders they have the number in the AFC North right now. I think the Mark and them boys down there were the only ones to beat them. But the Raiders tend to play everyone well. I'm going to go ahead and go again this week and say the Bengals win, but I'm going to take the 7.5 points. I think that the Raiders will keep it close. And, maybe we see another loss and they join the three win. You be the 6 loss party with us. We win this
Okay.
Damn, Mark, what do you think? What happens between the Raiders and the Bengals?
It's another one where you think it's kind of like last week was 50-50 with the Eagles, but it's another one where you think at the start of the season, you think, oh, yeah, the Bengals should take this easy, should, Joe Burrow, get the guys, the receivers in order, all these kind of things. But the Raiders don't really have anything to play for right now. They've lost 4 in a row. I think they went back to Minshew, I believe. They went to Aiden O'Connell, then they back to Minshew. So what are they really? They're that far away from the playoffs that they have no chance to really do anything. So this one, I legit, it does hurt. It hurts me yet again to say the Bengals should win. But I've been saying that a few times on this podcast over the last 8 weeks when I say the Bengals should win or get this W, and they end up losing. So I wouldn't be surprised if it comes down to a 7-point game, or maybe you take the Raiders with the spread and see if they can turn up for something. I'm not even sure what they're playing for right now. I'm not even sure what the Raiders fans want them to play for. Do the Raiders want them to win, to go to the playoffs, have a chance and do something, which they're pretty far away from, or do they want them to tank and restart again next year? Bengals to get their season back in order. Then you have a big game, you said, against the Ravens the week after the Thursday night game, right? Don't look over the Raiders. Just take care of business, get back to offense, and maybe have a convincing victory of like 7-10 points. And get a home win for the fans, the Bengals fan. Who Dey Nation? Who Dey go and beat them Bengals? A lot of teams already.
Themselves.
Yeah, so a lot of teams.
Not a week ago when we beat the Browns.
You still suck.
It wasn't the James Brown, only for a quarter, was it, or something?
Yeah.
Right, we got to see what happens. Full
I think if the Bengals want to turn their season around, it's mid-season right now, and that's why it's good for the Steelers to take a bye and reflect and get healthy and see all you guys fighting everyone else. You guys get by soon if you haven't had one already. The Bengals got to, I think, get this W to go 4-5 and start to get back into the wild card mix at least. Otherwise, if they lose this one, is it over? Is that curtains pretty much done?
To me, it is.
Tough.
We're gonna have a different conversation. The T. Higgins conversation, all that stuff pops up.
Sam, talk to me. What about these Bengals and their chances on Sunday, a game that they have to have against these Raiders?
Is T. Higgins playing, Zim? Do you know?
He did not practice today.
Oh, I'm leaning towards the Raiders. Yeah, without T. Higgins, this offense looks completely different. And Zim, you mentioned that in the stream earlier. I don't know. I like the way the Raiders play. I think Max Crosby is a beast. I think he really disrupts offenses, and it really forces coordinators to really game plan to stick him down. I mean, like 2-3 triple teams. I'm talking about that type of offense, of output from your offensive line. And I just don't know. And the Raiders defense, I think, is more of the underrated side of things because of Max Crosby. So I don't know. I think my one question mark is, can that offense put up enough points? Because I think the Bengals will score points, maybe not as much as we've seen in the past, but I'm leaning towards the Raiders. Give me the Bengals. The Bengals are at home, I'm assuming. So I'm gonna take the Bengals to win a close one, but it would not surprise me if the Raiders get the upset, but give me the Bengals.
All right, Zim, what happens on Sunday? It's one you got to have. I'm assuming you think that they get it done, but how do you think it goes down?
This guy right here, he came to the podium today. He said, this is it. It's do or die for him. So when Joe talks like that, I got to go with my quarterback. So I'm going with 9, bro. And the one thing I can say about the Max Crosby one, we played them a couple times recently and did okay and did well. And he wasn't impacted. And the difference was I thought our tackles were god-awful. Now I feel like we have Amarius Mims on that side, who is the best tackle that we've had since Willie Anderson. So will Max Crosby make impact? I'm sure. But I feel a lot better that our best entity on our offensive line is going to be lined up against them. So I'm going to go with Bengals. I think comfortably. I think Bengals win by like 9.
Game that they have to have. You got them covering the spread. Everybody else thinks it might be a bit closer, but Bengals are the better team here. This is one that they should get. If they do, we'll be 4-5, and we'll be trying to remain in the mix here within the AFC North. Speaking of a team that's trying to do the unfathomable, that's the Cleveland Browns. They get the W last week in Jameis's first start against the Baltimore Ravens. This week, they look to keep the momentum going against the LA Chargers. It's in the dog pound. And right now, over on BetUS, let's take a look where these Cleveland Browns are at. The Browns on BetUS are a 1-point home dog in this game. The Chargers, 1-point road favorite. If the Browns get a W here with a bunch of remaining AFC North games on the schedule, things could get interesting, but they got to keep it going the way that we saw them do this past week. And the question is, can they? Mark, I'll start with you. What do you expect to see out of Cleveland? They look like they have some resurgence going on here. Are they going to be able to maintain it against the Chargers?
I'm pretty keen to see them if they can back it up with this overall hype, because it was a good game and a good win versus the Ravens with Jameis Winston. It looks so much different compared to Deshaun Watson and scoring more points. But what is interesting is we're in halfway through the season. If they lose this game, I think the playoff chances are like done. Like it's out, right? Because you're versing Chargers who go and get 5. It's now like Chargers, Denver, and Ravens and Steelers fighting for the wild card around that area because your AFC East is doing nothing with the Jets and all the other teams there. So in that sense, the Chargers win this game, they might put to bed the Browns forever and increase their chances. Chargers have the best defense too, I think, in the NFL in points-wise. They only surrendered like 90-something points, which is unbelievable. So to see them come out and play, and they're going to Cleveland, right?
In Cleveland.
Playing at Cleveland, yeah. So that crowd's gonna be fired up. Zay's fired up with his Sonnies. It's fun to see the Browns fans get behind their team because look, I'll be honest, if I was a fan of that and I had to witness Watson and pay all the money, and then you knew you had to because they'd probably still be playing him if he wasn't hurt. Let's be honest, and he was awful to watch. But it's more exciting watching the free-flowing Winston, and he's a bit of a character too. They think that Russell Wilson's a bit goofy. He's a bit goofy as well. But he's funny to watch. He's awesome. He's awesome to see him play, getting 300 yards. Nick Chubb's a great running back. Can they keep up with the Chargers in that sense? I've got the Chargers winning by like 3 or 4 points, like just getting a field goal. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns take it to them and they can win this game too. So I know I'm sitting on the fence, but I'll go Chargers to win.
Good point you make, Mark, about this Chargers defense. They are the number 1 defense in the league in terms of points per game. 13 points per game allowed by the Chargers. To give you an example of what the Browns just played, Sam, your Ravens are allowing 26. So the Chargers are allowing half of what the Ravens are, and that's what that was the situation that the Browns were in last week, where they were able to finally get past that 20-point mark that had been haunting them all year. So, Sam, I'll swing it to you. You just saw these Browns take on your Ravens. What do you expect to see from them against the Chargers?
I want to see what Jameis Winston does against a defense that isn't poop, and in the past defense with the Ravens. So I would very much be interested to see how he performs. I think that the Browns are, slept on a little bit here. They do have a great run defense, and I think the Chargers offense is predicated on how well their run game goes. So I think the Browns will give it a fight. I will say Jameis Winston can keep the ball away from the other team. They have a chance to win this game, but the ducks I saw him throw that were dropped by the Ravens leads me to believe that probably isn't going to happen. Give me the Chargers, but if Winston has another week under the system to get things together, could be a shocker, but give me the Chargers.
Zim, how do you see it going down, Chargers, Browns?
Mark, what did you call those sunglasses? Sunnies?
I love that.
Sunnies.
I think the Chargers knocked the Sunnies off of Zay's face. Coming up.
Haters.
And we don't have to deal with the Sunnies another week. And I thought when the Bengals beat them, I thought it was over for these guys, but apparently they're still out here ready to go and do it. So I feel like the Browns do have some things that can bother the Chargers. I think this game is going to be very close. But the Jameis Winston throws in the inconsistencies, I think, that led him to this point to be a backup. I think that honeymoon period, I think he'll play a good game, but it's only a matter of time before these picks and all these different things start to pop up against the Chargers. I didn't know the Chargers defense was rolling like that. Lad McConkey coming off a really good game. Chargers are going to run the ball if they have to. I got the Chargers in this one in a tight game. I'm talking like 17-16 or something weird like that. Weird. It's going to be a weird score.
Right where we want to be, baby.
Let it rip, Zay. Let's hear it. Talk to me.
I love it when we are underdogs because when we ain't got the expectation, we that's when we thrive. Fun fact, Browns, the last time the Browns beat the Chargers, can you guess when they did that?
Recently.
The 1-31 season. They were the lone win that we had back in 2016. That's the last time we beat the Chargers. So that's a pretty interesting fact. They always play us well for some reason. I know you think back to last year, Austin Eckler had that big run where he didn't end up scoring on because he's too slow. The game before that, you had the Baker Mayfield, Justin Herbert shootout where it was 47-42. So I'm expecting this to be a good game. I think the stat is funny that they have only given up 13 points per game, seeing as though they're going up against the Browns team who's only gone over 20 once. I think we go over that mark. And not only do I think we go over that mark, I think we win. I think this fever is real. It'd be different. Like, I talked about this on the live stream. I think if we would have came out and beat them like we did against Jacksonville, or it would have been a game where you were like, yeah, they didn't have no business even being in contention or winning this game, it would have been a different story. But this is exactly what we were expecting to get out of our offense throughout the entire offseason. You were supposed to go to this new high flashy offense, and we saw exactly that. I know the big concern is going to be turnovers for Jameis Winston, but the one thing that we know about this defense is we can handle some turnovers. It's just going to be, where are those turnovers? Are they going to happen in the red zone? Are they going to happen on the other side of the ball where we're giving them field position at the 30, 40-yard line? If you do that, you're going to put yourself in a bad predicament going up against the Harbaugh brothers and the Chargers who are playing good football. But we can handle some turnovers. So I'm not worried about that. Give me the Browns. I think we'll win this game 23-17, and you'll see me high flying, and these Sonny's going to be back next week, baby.
Sonny, is Denzel Ward, what's the status on him?
Nothing yet. I imagine he's probably going to be out this week. 6 concussion. I don't see them rushing him back at all. And I think this is one of those weeks where you could probably afford to maybe let him get a little bit. It's not like you're going up against T. Higgins and Jamar. I like our secondary still. I still like Martin and Greg going up against these guys. So nothing yet. JOK is the one that we should be worried about, though.
There you have it, folks. The Week 9 picks are locked in. Before we wrap up, though, Mark, give you a quick moment here. Your Steelers, they're at the top of the division. They're 6-2. They're on the bye this week. Tell me one thing you want to see from your Steelers coming out of the bye, moving into the tougher stretch of their schedule at the end of the year.
I guess just get ready for the schedule too. I know it's gonna, on paper, it looks pretty tough and all those kind of things, but like I've been saying and more and more and more, like they have to play us too. Don't forget that. Don't forget this, the other teams have to play the Steelers, and then some fans will say, "Oh, we're worried about this team, worried about that team, or whatever it may be." But in terms of the football sense, I'm ready for some players to get back to health. I want to see Zach Frazier come back at center. I want to see Nick Herbig come back in the rotation, outside linebacker. I want to see as well Darrell Patterson come back to third running back. So we've been doing okay with Ryan McCollum. He's our backup center. His third game could be against the Commanders. But that's going to be a pretty big matchup too. The Commanders could beat the Giants this week and be 7-2, and we could also be 6-2. And that could be a fire matchup. But really, yeah, his health and our team not to let off the gas pedal. Just keep going and keep trying to fight all the way through. I'm not too worried about these games or schedules or division, and we have Hard Knocks coming on Netflix. Cameron Hayward talked about it. All you can do is play who you verse right in front of you. So you can't. But it will be fun. Like we're versing 4 AFC North teams in a row, which is fantastic.
You know what gave me like life today is Sam talking about possibly losing to the Broncos.
I loved that so much.
If that happens in your schedule, Mark, I'm sorry, I know you don't want to hear that. look out. I'm a guy that got into the playoffs at 10-7 and went to a Super Bowl.
Mark, let me find out you Nostradamus, or you got some teleporter over there that you predicting stuff that no one knows. I don't think I've seen anyone predict that them win the AFC North. You're the only one, so you stand on that business.
Of course, I'm biased because I'm a Steelers fan, but I do look from a football sense as well. We have one of the best defenses in the league.
You came over the first show and you said our defense got better. I don't know why y'all don't see that.
It did get better. It got better with Leonard Roberts being there his last year, but he's a Super Bowl champion with the Patriots. Patrick Queen has been playing much better football. They drafted Wilson, and he's working out. Beanie Bishop, undrafted Steeler for the cornerbacks, now got 3 interceptions. First time since Tony Dungy back in 1974. Everyone was like, oh, we missed Deontay Johnson. We got Dante Jackson. He's played at pretty good reps, and JPJ. A lot of Steelers fans too, not many, but a lot of Steelers fans like, where's Minka? Minka hasn't been spoken about because they're not throwing the ball his direction, and he's leading the defense and getting everyone all kind of set up. And Elliott's one of the biggest pickups we had from the Ravens too. So in that sense, the defense keeps us in these games, and we're scoring, only allowing like 14 points. That's why I'm not worried about, oh, you have a really hard schedule and this, and this. You can only play people who are in front of you. And Cameron Hayward, I don't think he's too worried. He's just going to get down to business. And TJ Watt's a professional. These guys are ready, I think, under Mike Tomlin to take the next step. And it's much different to 2020 when we were just sneaking away, winning games by 3 or 7 or whatever. We're scoring more points this year too.
Love it. There you have it, folks. The Week 9 picks are locked in. We can't wait to see how it all goes down. And once it does go down, we will be recapping what went down next week on the Week 9 recap episode. So in order to be notified of that and all upcoming episodes, hit the like button here and make sure to hit the subscribe button. That way we let you know when we're going live. Also on the way out the door, 150% sign-up bonus through BetUS using the promo code YouTube150. That does get you that 150% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 on your first deposit and 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits after that. All the Week 9 lines are up, and you can go and get after it on BetUS. That's going to do it for the fellas here on the AFC North Roundtable. For Zay, Zim, Sam, and Mark, I'm your host, Zbot. Thanks so much for tuning in to the AFC North Roundtable, and we'll see you on the next one.